Well, Boosie's a regular on my show. And in fact, I've been interviewing Boosie and Webby when they first signed Atlantic Records back in like 2004.
Yeah.
So me and him go back like, 17, 18 years at this point. And, Boosie has felt the way he's felt, in terms of raising his kids a certain type of way and so forth. And I kind of feel like the back and forth between the two of them was relatively lighthearted, the whole time until this happened.
Mm-hmm.
And, I interviewed Boosie and we talked about this specific thing. The interview's not out yet, so people haven't really seen his full side of things yet. But essentially, what triggered him was Lil Nas X went on Instagram Live and announced that he has a song with Boosie.
Right.
Which was a lie.
Right.
Just wasn't true.
Right.
At the time, Boosie's dealing with his grandmother dying.
Right.
His grandmother's actually passed away.
Right.
Recently. But she was basically on her deathbed and, his phone was blowing up and everyone's like, oh, song with Lil Nas X, song with Lil Nas X. You got a song with Lil Nas X. And he snapped.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He reached his breaking point. And he used the F word. He said he'd kill himself, told Nas to kill himself and so forth. And I told him I don't agree with some of the wording that he said, but also I recognize that in a way, Lil Nas X was poking him in a way where when Boosie snapped, Lil Nas could say, see, look, he's the bad guy. See, look, he's the bad guy. But Lil Nas X was in this particular case, I felt was the aggressor and was purposely messing with Boosie when Boosie was essentially minding his business that day.
It's a fair point. So this is what I would say to that. I was in maybe like the 10th grade, right? I was in maybe like the 10th grade and I was in one of my classes, like an algebra class or something like that. I can't remember exactly what was going on. And there were these girls over on the wall. I remember their names, but I'm not going to say them now. I have people blow up their social media and shit. And they were going at one of the other baseball players. This was at McKinley High. And I remember I said, yo, leave them alone. Like, why y'all acting like that? Why are y'all acting like that? Stop fucking with them. Leave them alone. Y'all acting real corny and wild. This is corny for y'all to be on his ass like that. And she goes, shut up, little nigger. That's what she said.
The white girl?
White girl, yeah. I initiated, for whatever reason, I initiated that between her and I, right? I initiated that. I jumped into something I didn't have nothing to do with, right? Right. I did, My opinion of that is, at some point, you're responsible for what you put out into the world, and your response has to be proportional. Losing your grandmother, like I told you, I lost my father this year. I couldn't even imagine losing my mama, who, and down south, I know how important our grandparents are to us.
Right.
That is that's like horrible, and that's an emotionally raw place to be. But it's also probably a place that you shouldn't be tweeting from, True. It's probably a place that you shouldn't be. If you're not in the right frame of mind, then maybe take a step back. And even if you do something and it's out of emotion and it's out of whatever it is, there's nothing wrong in this case with saying, hey, that was too far. Because Lil Nas X was fucking with him. He was. And you can never tell anybody how they're going to respond to something. But as a society, we can say that response is too much. And to be real, I think over time, this is a good indication. People talk about canceling people, and let me tell you why I feel like Boosie shouldn't be canceled and why people shouldn't even use the term cancel like that anymore. Because if you think it's bigger than Boosie, if you think that there are people that are where I'm from that don't agree with that don't look at that as somebody who's fighting against a way the society is going that they don't like, then you're out of your fucking mind. And the question becomes, well, what do we do with those people? Do we put them in a room somewhere and cut out the lights where they can't say nothing, where they can't hear nothing, where they're not a part of society? Or do we, maybe not the LGBTQ community, because they have to care about their own safety and who they are and preserving their lives. But it's really up to guys like me or Charlemagne or other people, either intermediaries to talk to our brothers from the community that might still be harboring those beliefs and let them know that that's kind of whack. So the reality is we can't stop talking to Boosie. You can't cancel Boosie. Boosie said you can't cancel him. He said it's ghetto everywhere, and he's right. You can't.
Right.
And you shouldn't want to. What you should want to do is look at one of your brothers and be like, yo, man, this is how we can come together and do better on this. This is how we can get together and understand what it is that's going on and how other people's lives are being impacted by some of the things that we say and do. And that's a conversation that we have to be willing to have, and that's a conversation that he has to be willing to have. But the reality is, in no way, love Boosie to death, love Trill, love Turk and Mel, love everything that they were able to do down there because they put my city on the map, and I'll never forget being out here and hearing Baton Rouge on the radio. But that right there, I can't fuck with that. And I never will. 1,000 years in the future, 1,000 years from that future, I'm never going to fuck with telling someone to go and kill themselves because of the way that they are. Now, the clapback, if you want to clap back on Lil Nas X, that's cool. Clap back on Lil Nas X, that's cool. But when you say you're an F word and you need to kill yourself, you didn't clap back on him. You clapped back on all of the people in his community. You clapped back on everybody when you use that word and when you say that. And the same thing, if I'm in an argument with a white boy or whatever, or somebody else, and they want to say something to me, want to get back at me, the minute the N-word flies out of your mouth, the minute you bring all of black people into it, now you've taken it to a new level and you've roped us all in the same thing, and we got to talk about that language.